my thoughts on tonight's episode of Arrow titled Beacon of Hope, I think. Um, if you guys notice, I'm not in my usual setting. I'm on vacation with my family, so you might notice the different background and the really bright lighting and me speaking a little quieter, but um, this was an episode that, I had actually had a lot of fun with. Um, from everything from the way that Oliver and Laurel's interactions were handled. Oliver, I feel like he's still really not. He keeps saying he's growing as a character, but it's just. It's a lot of just like just he's saying he's gonna do it and he really doesn't do it, and that's been probably one of my biggest problems with this character is that he keeps saying he's gonna change, he's gonna change, he's gonna change, and the only thing he really has changed is that he doesn't kill as much as he did in like season one. That's the only real thing about him that's changed. I mean, there's a little more like sarcasticness in him, but at the same time, it's like, okay, come on, dude, like you really haven't changed. And Laurel points it out, and that's one of my favorite things about this episode was honestly like Laurel just didn't take Oliver's crap, like he really didn't, and I just feel like Laurel has really stepped up in the way that they've, at least the writers and then how they've written her. Sometimes like the way they write her is a little repetitive, but it's definitely a step up from how they treated her in the second season because they try to do something different with that character that it's just like for me personally it just didn't really work. But they started to change her character a bit once they made her Black Canary and started like making her part of the team. And this season, I think she's been one of the standout parts of this season because this season, like I've gone on in the past, is just like not all that great, and it's just become one of those things that just like this show. Like I said last week, I was about ready to get. I'm still willing to give the show a shot. In this episode, as much as I had fun with it, I mean, it wasn't the best episode, but I had fun with it. It was a decent episode. The villain was cheesy, but I wasn't expecting much because like that villain was cheesy on the Flash when she was on the Flash last year, and that character. I mean, and the fact that like that. Honestly, my sense of believability in the show kind of flew out the window as soon as they introduced metahumans. Because first season they're all about like realism. You gotta make it dark and gritty. Like no superheroes, no superpowers, and yet, and especially in this episode, they have a tech guru kind of villain who makes things out of robot bees and makes like a fighting robot thing out of bees, and that's just like okay, come on, like really, like I don't know. That was just like the one thing that really kind of stood to me. And I don't know, just like Felicity's mom, like I don't see the purpose for her character to be there other than just to like make inappropriate jokes all the time and talk too much. Because I feel like they just use her as something pretty to look at. Like when they introduced her in the show, it was like, oh, we finally get to meet her mom. And now that we met her, it's like, okay, like we get it. Like there's nothing more to this character really. And they've developed that character somewhat here and there, but it's really nothing that like I've really enjoyed all that much, to be honest. And to be honest, I feel like it's a waste of a character and it's a waste of the actress's talent because she deserves better. I mean, then again, this is Arrow and it's not exactly the show it used to be. But going back to what actually I did like about the episode, um, like I said, everything between Oliver and Laurel was great. Seeing the way Curtis was integrated into the team was great. And you know what? Like, despite his like how much he is kind of like Felicity, and just like how he talks too much, and you know what, the character has grown on me. I'm definitely not my favorite character by any means, but there's a lot more there to the character that I think that the writers could develop more. But because he is a side character, they don't always utilize him. And tonight was an episode that like they needed someone to fill up Felicity's spot while Felicity was in the Palmer Tech building, and you know what, like he served his purpose, and I like the way they handled him, and as much as Oliver was a dick to him, like he was like talking a little too much for me, like at certain times. But I did like his interaction with the team, especially with Laurel, because he seemed like he was so supportive of Laurel. And if you guys know, I'm a big Laurel Lance supporter. I'm a big Laurel Lance fan, so anything that makes me even more of a fan of it, like, obviously I'm into. So that seeing that made me happy. And even when Laurel got the chance to use the Canary Cry in the Arrow Cave, that was a really cool scene because when Curtis was explaining it, you just see the smile on Laurel's face, like getting all like. I think like Laurel just kind of feels happy to like really be included. I mean, obviously she's included, but seeing like stuff like that makes her happy, makes me happy as a fan. So that made that scene really work for me. And by the end of the episode, when like Bree had pretty much had Thea and Felicity at gunpoint, and she was giving like her sob story about like the tumor she has in her back, and Felicity and no, or not Felicity, Thea was just like, yeah, we get your sob story. That just justify killing, and that's one of the things about these shows is that like every villain has to have some sort of sob story, but it's like, okay, yeah, you're a murderer, like cold motive, I guess, kind of like from that one show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where that came from. It's like, okay, yeah, cold motive is still murder because it's true. It's like a cold motive still murder kind of situation. It's like, we don't need your sob story. Like, you're a murderer. You're a criminal. Like, there's no reason we should sympathize with you. Like, honestly, and that's something that, and at least I'm glad that they starting to bring them more in this show, especially with characters like Thea, who she's become a character that she doesn't take crap from anyone anymore, and I didn't like her for the first like 2.5 seasons of the show. Like, I didn't like her first season, second season, like halfway through season 3. But she really kind of like with the world. She came around me, and they started writing her better, made her more interesting, gave her a little more depth, gave her more to do, and she's becoming one of my, not my favorite character, but more likable character. What else? Again, like the action in this episode, the way it starts out with that training montage with all 4 of them, with Laurel, Thea, Diggle, and Oliver, that was really cool. What else? And then of course that twist at the end when we find out that John's or Diggle's brother is working with Hive again. It's like, oh, shocker! Like, none of us saw that coming. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's the one who kills the one that's in the grave, or I don't know. We'll just see how that goes. So with that being said, I think again that's gonna be it for me. So if you guys like what you see here, go ahead and hit subscribe below. I'm sorry I'm a little more energetic on my other videos. It's just I'm on vacation, like I said, my family's asleep, so I'm doing my best not to be too loud. They know I'm doing videos, but at the same time, like, I don't want to be like disrespectful to them. So again, if you guys like what you see here, go ahead and hit subscribe. I do review all these shows every week. Supergirl on Mondays, Flash on Tuesdays, Arrow obviously on Wednesdays, and Legend of Tomorrow on Thursdays. So I have plenty of videos in between, and I have my review of Batman vs Superman with my channel if you guys want to check that out. So yeah, again, that's gonna be it for me. So until next time, guys, have a good one.